Welcome to Art Class with Zoe, and today we're going to be looking at a simple pen and wash of a beautiful harbour. So I've drawn this out very simply, and I'm just going to put a light wash on the sky using some cerulean blue, and I'm just going to put it into little waves like that. I'm leaving it there, and then I'm turning this upside down because I want to do the sea, but I want to actually make the wash deeper on the bottom. So the best way to do that is to turn it around. And I'm going to mix a little bit of cerulean blue with the cerulean. And then I'm just cleaning my brush. I'm bringing this up to the side. Can take some lines across here. Can do this quite loosely. If you've got any sort of blobby bits that you don't like, while it's wet, and make sure that this is done while it's wet, because otherwise you'll get cabbages, you can very quickly just soften that up. And then we will leave that like that and let that dry. Now that that's dry, we're just going to put some raw sienna with a dry brush over the woodwork. So just take off any excess paint. And now I'm painting these houses very simply, more uniform. And even though that's darker, I'm actually putting an under paint of the yellow ochre. And the thing is with pen and wash, you can actually leave some of this white. You don't have to fit it all in. Then I'm using burnt sienna, which is an orangey brown for the roofs. And you can gradiate them down. So, for example, if you don't want them a solid colour, which you can clean the brush, and then like basically a graded wash really. Make that one a little bit stronger. Clean the brush and just bring that down. You can always go over it again. Just be careful. So you're going to put a strong line of burnt sienna on the top, clean the brush, and then just grade that down. Just fill this roof in here, put a strong tone. I think I prefer a little bit stronger colour, so I'm just filling that in a little bit more. You can leave some of them varied in tone. And leave that. And then what you want to do is you can mix, you can either use a darker brown or you can mix the cobalt with the burnt sienna, and that will make a nice dark brown. And you can start putting in these stilts. And be careful about the angles that you're going in. Because they're quite nice, sort of, I don't know why that was wobbling. And then you can just do a little reflection. Don't forget, it's got to be wiggly and you want to break it up. Don't forget, you're going to go over this to make it darker with the pen as well. You can mix a darker blue with the Payne's grey and the blue that you're using, cobalt or cerulean. And you can draw that down. And then dampen the brush. You can soften some of these brushes sides here. Doesn't have to be exact. We're just looking for to give a sort of impression. And I'm going to keep with the cerulean actually for the boat. I was thinking about changing it to red, but I think it's quite calming to have the cerulean here like that. So I'm just going to keep that there. Add a bit of darker blue so you can get that. Like that. And there's a bit of a red across here. Don't worry if it bleeds, and that's fine. Keep that white. I'm going to let that dry and then I'm going to go over it with a Payne's grey. Put some windows in. You can use brown as well if you want. You can make these quite sketchy. Don't forget again that you're going to be going over with pen. But you do want a bit of that reflection and just a few strikes of red in there. You can go over that with a bit of blue. It's the shape of the boats that's really important. If that bleeds a little bit, you can just take it out. And we'll tidy it up with the pen. So that's coming along nicely. So I'm just going to wait for that to dry a little bit. And then go from that. Just going to add a little bit of purple, which is cobalt and alizarin. So I've started here, put that over the roof and the wall. It's a glaze. Wondering if I should go a bit stronger to have that contrast. But notice how I'm putting it in so it's not flat. Something going on here, a rock of some kind, so I'm just going to put that there in a very sort of impressionist way. You can see how that's really standing out now with the contrast. So we've got the light coming from the left to the right. So we also want some shadows here and there. Not too much. You're giving an impression. You're not actually, you know, doing it. You're not doing an architectural drawing. So I'm just going to wait for this to dry. And then what I'm going to do is just put a little bit more darkness here and make these stilts a little darker. And then we're going to go into with the pen. So we're going to start with putting on line. And I'm using a 0.5 Derwent line maker. You can use different thicknesses, but I'm going to try and do this with one pen. And then what I'm going to do is sketchily, working from left to right, depending on if you're left or right-handed, just put in the little buildings in a very sketchy way. So you're just giving, as I said before, an impression. And you can put in the little houses and the little windows here. and this street light. Don't worry about making things too straight or perfect, because this is the whole point of pen and watch does have a freedom. And you don't have to go around every line. As well. And so what I want you to do here with the ripples is you can do some sort of ripples following those down. And make them less as they're coming towards you, but a little bit, you can sort of make them thicker if you want. I wouldn't do too much as you're going away, because this is the main boat. And if you can't really tell what is going on with the boat, don't worry about it, as long as you make it look like it's making sense. So you can redesign it. I'm having these ripples going in a sort of, making sure they go in a kind of diagonal. I need to put, actually I need to put some shading across here. And that is the beauty of being in with a waterproof pen, is that, you know, if there's anything that you forget or you want to go back in, or you can go back in then and put in any little details. And then we're going to come to these poles here. Remember to actually go on the right side, because they're a little bit lighter on the left. Stilts is what they're called. And you can see that they're all already coming out just with that little bit, and you can just do a little squiggle underneath. Directly underneath though, don't do it anywhere else, for goodness sake. Otherwise it won't look right. You can do thicker lines and thinner lines, so there's a little bit of shadow underneath the roof. Here and here. Two little windows here. You can add some shadow under here, because there is some sort of rock or something. So I'm just going to sketch that in, and then put some squiggles going horizontally, sorry. Don't forget you can vary your lines going either left or right, or horizontally or vertically. And we'll put some lines over here like that to add some interest. And you don't have to go put a square around the window. You don't have to go around each frame. Again, here you can fill in some of the windows, but not all. So because you have light coming across the glass. So some darker reflections under here, directly underneath the house. So you can make that stronger going across. But I would leave this here because that's where the light is coming down. There's a, if you notice, there's a little bit more darker shadow here. Sorry about the shaking. And I'm going to just stand back from this 1 minute. Makes more sense. Put a little bit of more dark under here, and on the boats to give them a bit more grounding so they're sitting in the water. I've just put some pen over that because that's quite dark as well. And I'm going to put some shadow. So I'm just basically putting vertical lines here. So you can put thicker lines where you want to draw the eye. You can leave this really, really sketchy. That's quite plain. I think I quite like these lines here, so I'm just going to just put that across. Gives it a little bit more depth. And there are some definite slats going across here. So then you just want to stand back and just actually work out where any accents should go. So I want that to actually come out from the, you know, to stand away from the stilts. So I've put some darkness under there and I've gone into that. So you've mapped it in, and I'm just putting some rocks. I might put some purple in here, and then I think that'll be it. We've nearly finished. I just want to do a little bit more reflection here of this house. And then a little bit of purple. Don't have to cover it. The whole blue lets some of that come through. And literally, I think, leave it like that. And soften some of these edges if you want. And there you have a harbour scene in pen and wash. Hope you enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.